So here we are again, trying to speak about what I wanted to speak, trying to get to my point. Nobody impeded me except myself and my own scatterings of thoughts. 2 commenters have brought me to this position, to make this video. One with the Israeli flag in his logo, his thumbnail. The other with a black cat in her thumbnail. She saying, she hates me. She made some Catholic YouTubers got on her nerves after October the 7th, 2023. You know what happened, Israel, Hamas, that stuff. And she cancelled her subscription to them. But I'm the first one to make her hate me. Many of us can't win prizes in athletics. We can't get gold medals. So we have to take what we can get. So I'm grateful for this. The guy with his Israel flag in his logo, he's saying like, oh, you blocked by YouTube. I let one comment through. I may let the other one through. We'll see. Not happy that I made some points about Israel, Palestine, we might call it that to be neutral. The woman was hating me because I think she was saying before that it's the Israel-Palestine stuff that caused us to unsubscribe from various channels. So I'm assuming that's the issue. I must have addressed it somewhere and she couldn't stand that. And you see what I'm like. I go on about all kinds of stuff. And I wouldn't be able to remember when I spoke about this and what I said. I'd have to replay the tape, as it were. But I thought I'd better address this issue. The issue is Israel. And I'm addressing you born-again Christians and any scatterbrained Catholics out there. So I want to offend everybody, don't I? Born-again Christians especially, though. American born-again Christians above all. You think that I've got a negative attitude to Israel? Okay. I've said this, I've said that. Putting that to one side for now. I'm going to tell you something. I said it already, I think, but you need to get it hammered into your Protestant heads. 1967. There's a United States warship. Well, it's a reconnaissance ship. It's not heavily armed at all. Off the North African coast. It seems it's monitoring communications in Egypt, because the 1967 war between Egypt and Israel is going on at this point. Morning. Unmarked Israeli aircraft are circling overhead, circling and circling this United States ship. It has its United States flag fully on display. It is not a warship, it is a reconnaissance ship. It has the most up-to-date technology for communications of the time. It's unmistakably American. They're circling, the ships, the Israeli airplanes are circling and circling. And though I said they're unmarked, know this, that the United States investigation into this confirmed and accepted it was Israeli planes. They're circling and circling. American sailors are waving at them because although they're unmarked, they know they're Israeli. They're waving because it's friends. Then, at a certain point, these Israeli planes start attacking the United States warship. They're firing huge amounts of munitions into it. They want to sink it. That's the amount of firepower they're putting into it. They're destroying its radio mast. They're doing everything to stop it being able to communicate. Some brave American sailors, hoist another flag. The attack continues. But fortunately, some great sailors, they get a message off to what I think is the United States 6th Fleet, which is a few hundred miles away, or a few dozen miles away. Because the ship may sink, because there's chaos in the ship, United States sailors, they get into life rafts to get away, because if the ship sinks, they can't go down with it. They've got to get away. I would say, contrary to the laws of war and common decency, the Israeli warplanes then turn to machine gun the American sailors who are trying to get away from the ship in life rafts, trying to escape. You know, the sailors had been at first trying to signal to these planes not to fire on them. They're friends. Didn't stop anything. The machine gunning goes on. Huge number of sailors are killed or maimed. But the US 6th Fleet has got the message, which it was never intended to get. This ship was to be sunk before it could send any message requesting help out. No SOSs would make it. The targeting of the ship and its antennae showed that. Warplanes were scrambled from the USS Saratoga, I believe, to intercept the Israeli planes and blow them out of the air, and hopefully go on to the airfield and destroy them there as well, and maybe further, maybe to Tel Aviv itself. For to attack a US ship unprovoked deserves a proper response. So is this what happened then? Were the planes blown out of the air? Were the airfields from which they came attacked? Were the headquarters that gave the nod to do this blown to smithereens? No. The planes, partway towards their target, were called back. The commander of the ship, who'd received the order, I think from Defence Secretary Robert McNamara, they asked for validation of that because it was a serious order when an American ship was under attack. The validation was given from the authority above Robert McNamara. Who else but President Lyndon Johnson himself? The planes were recalled. The Israelis had cleared off, knowing what was coming. Why did Johnson recall the planes? Apparently leaving the USS Liberty to its fate, and the sailors to their deaths. American sailors on an American ship. Hard to think of a greater act of treachery, isn't it? Well, it seems that Johnson had to deal with powerful Israelis. You know, when after Kennedy was assassinated, well, Kennedy had a real tussle. Him and the father of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., Robert Kennedy himself, the Attorney General. They had a tussle with the Israelis. Ben Gurion, I think, had to resign as Prime Minister because they were stealing American atomic secrets. That's how they've got nuclear weapons. Stolen from America. Kennedy was trying to put a stop to this. But he was killed, of course. I shall not go into that. Johnson becomes president. Reverses everything that the Kennedys were doing. And now, he's even refusing to protect American warships because of Israel, or powerful forces acting for Israel. Think me wrong? The sailors who survived, and by the grace of God, the ship was able to limp on and not sink, so the world could see, if the media would report it, what had happened. But why didn't you find out about this? Why isn't it so obvious? Why don't everybody know about it? Because the sailors were told not to speak of this again, otherwise there will be consequences. But it came out. The BBC produced a documentary on this in the 1980s, I think. It's generally known on the internet, but it's not known in the sense of the major media talking about it. Why would that be? An incident like that, why would that be? So, my born-again Christian friends, I don't know what to say to you guys. My born-again American Christian friends. What's the matter with you? Christian Prince, aren't you an American citizen now? I know it's not your blood, but there are Americans who are, as it were, they could be even related to some of these sailors. How can you be Zionists? How can you be Zionists? The commander of the Liberty was given the Congressional Medal of Honor. You know, the president puts it on the recipients. I think it was a Congressional Medal of Honor. Forgive me, I may have got the wrong award, but the president presents it to you. It's a great fanfare. Lyndon Johnson did not do that. It was a lower official from the military who was to give it to him in a sort of like a side room. Why that? Why was the investigation into this a whitewash? Where does power lie? That's the question, you American Zionists, who seem to be willing to see your own people murdered. But because it's Israel, the promised land, the chosen people, they can do anything, can't they? No wonder if you will see your own men dead, then you're not going to be worried about what happens to little Arab kids when white phosphorus burns through their skin and bones, because you're Christians. Yep, you're Christians. You're born-again Christians. You're spirit-filled Christians. They're Muslims, aren't they? And some of them are Arab Christians. Some of them are even born-again Christians. They're not even Orthodox or Catholic. Some of them are born-again Christians, but they're Arabs, aren't they? And that's not the point. You probably do lots of things for them, but they're actually in a kind of tussle with the chosen ones. And that the chosen ones can do anything, can't they? They can commit acts of ethnic cleansing. We're seeing it in real time, ethnically cleansing Gaza. I mean, what else is there when you move a people from one zone to another zone and empty a particular zone? Ethnically cleansing Gaza. And whether it's that other word, the word that they want the world to know about themselves, but not about others, the G word, whether it's that or not, it's not the point to me. When you're using white phosphorus, when you're using ordinary munitions on blocks of flats, Christian Prince loves all this. He loves it all. He thinks it's great. He's really a naturalised American born-again Christian. But for you who are native-born Americans, your own flesh and blood were slaughtered by the Israeli state. Are you going to be a Zionist? Are you going to keep on being a Zionist? Can they do anything to your own people? Anything? If they've done this to that ship, what might else they have done? I won't go into what else they might have done. Safe to say, there are thousands upon thousands of dead and maimed American soldiers in the United States now because they were taken to Afghanistan, Iraq, and they became graveyards for them, or places which were completely life-changing. And for what? For whom? Cui bono is the Latin phrase. Who benefits? America didn't benefit. The British boys who went over there, this country didn't benefit. Only one country benefited. Your great friend. And at the price of your brethren's blood. Are you atomised individuals or are you Americans? Are you a family or are you not? Are you what the capitalists want you to be? Atomised individuals, consumers? Or are you brethren? Think about that. And Brits, British born-again Christians, are not finished with you. It's not as urgent with you. But if you're a patriot, remember who hanged 2 British Army sergeants in the 1940s. The group led by the man whom we sucked up to as Prime Minister of Israel, Menachem Begin. The Stern Gang. They hanged our sergeants. By Jove. But that's a one-off, you might say. Nope. You think terrorism is a Muslim thing? They blew up the King David Hotel full of British military and administrative people. So, what the British government does, don't matter to me. It's a devil's government. The state came into the grasp of Satan more and more over the 20th century. But what matters to me is those who are British patriots who call themselves Zionists. You've got to have some thinking to do here. You Christian princes of Britain, wherever you are, whatever your ideology is, whether you're going at it with the Muslims or attacking the Catholics or whatever it is. You've got to start putting your thinking head on, as Wurzel Gummidge would say. And Wurzel was a wise scarecrow with his thinking head on, but a stupid scarecrow with his other head on, his main head.